Ladies and gentlemen, the MPower channel brings you today another superstar. I even like saying his name, Chris Casamassa. Now, Chris has a family legacy going. His dad, Louis Casamassa, has been a great martial art leader for many years. And I think Chris has brought in the tools and the systems and got planted the seeds very early. I mean, he's been in this thing since 4 or 5 years old. He hasn't been able to escape martial arts. He's been in it his entire life. And right now, he is the president of 12 Red Dragon studios in Southern California. He is great at motivating, educating, inspiring instructors, owners, program directors, not only among his organization, but he's expanded. He's impacted hundreds of other martial arts schools. He talks about tools and strategies. And are you ready? We're proud to announce that he'll be a keynote speaker in Australia, 2021 in February. We're really looking forward to that, him bringing the A game. Ladies and gentlemen, our interviewer is also named Chris. His name is Chris Folmar. Chris Folmar is the founder of a product called Budocode. You'll hear more about that. Also, he's the vice president of TAP Technologies. He's a heavyweight too. Oh, I didn't mention about Chris's credentials as a martial artist. He's sitting down NASCA, championship in forms and championship middleweight division. So now let's hear the heavyweight interview conducted by Chris Folmar and the interviewee, Chris Casamassa. I'll turn it over to Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
Excellent. Thank you, John. And good to see you, Chris.
Good to see you, Chris.
It's great to see you, Chris.
And Mr. Cokinos, thank you for that that introduction there. I feel even stronger now after hearing you say all that stuff. That was very kind of you. Thank you.
Great.
Happy to be here, by the way, and looking forward to Australia in 2021.
Great.
Excellent. And so let's just jump right into it. You know, one of the things I want to get out very first is we're actually clients of each other. You've used our product, and I've been actually using you to help with my own school with your consulting services. And so I wanted to just put that out there because one of the things that really impressed me about you is you talked about things in such a tactical and practical way. And that you always talk about how your processes have systems and your systems have processes. And so I wanted to start off by just saying, could you share with everyone like how an example of some of those systems and processes have enabled your organization to pivot and respond to this forced closure?
Well, that's a big question there, so I'll try and unpack it best that I can. In the middle of March, when this started happening, right, I kind of took a moment to look into, well, what's going to happen over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. I looked at things that were happening in Italy, in China, and I thought, well, what's going to happen if they force us to close? Because it was kind of, we were slow to start and slow to move as a country when it came to, stopping the spread of the disease. So obviously we look into what we're doing right now, which is Zoom. Virtual training is something that, as you know, because I'm a fan of Budocode, I'm a big fan of technology. And I think any process that we can use to move our business forward is going to be advantageous, right? And so many people today are thinking it's something that always sticks in my head. The martial arts industry as a whole is one of the only business models that holds on to traditions that are hundreds of years old that prevent them from growing. Every other industry, every other business learns to pivot over time. But unfortunately, there's traditions we have to have because of what we're doing, but there's things you can let go of. And it's when it comes to technology, so many schoolers that I talk to are resistant of, oh, you can't possibly teach online. You can't teach on Facebook. They start with the I can't instead of what if we tried? So I wanted to continue to push that model forward. And this COVID-19 forced something that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, is it possible to have an online model for training? Right? So it forced our hand. I dove deep into it, and I talked to you about this already. Like for 7 days straight, I think I slept maybe a total of 8 hours because I was up every night digging in, Googling, how do I do this? How do I do that? Working on the best ways that I could take because like my whole school was closed, and I have, over 300 active members at this location alone. So how is that going to look for me? So I literally spent a week straight diving in, digging deep, and understanding the technology so that I could pivot my business from this brick and mortar to online. Now, did I like it? No. Does it suck? Yes. But I knew it was coming, and I wanted to be prepared for it. Did I lose students? Of course I did, and everybody has. But I've been able to keep over 80% of my clients through this time because we had a system in place to move them from here to here.
Right.
And hopefully that answers your question.
It does. But I'm gonna jump into that. One of the things I really want to get into is like how you've communicated what was going on, because you're getting transition from the space behind you, which I have seen filled up many times, to just being online. You went to a thing where you started limiting the number of people that could come in, and so you were using some scheduling systems. You did everything you could to keep the doors open.
100%.
And then how are you communicating each of those steps to all of your members in a way that?
So I have the answer for you. So we talk about tactical, right? Tactical and practical. So when it comes to marketing, whether we're open or closed, there's what I call the 5 spokes of the wheel of communication. And as a school owner, that is important to communicate in all 5. What happens is many school owners will communicate with one of them or 2. And here's what they are. Number 1 is in person, right? I see you, you see me, we talk, I tell you what's going on around the school. Number 2 is email. Number 3 is text. Number 4 is social media. And number 5 is print marketing. So with COVID-19, some of those get eliminated. I have no more face-to-face interaction. But every single day, I am emailing my members. I am texting them. I am social media, because we have private Facebook groups for our members and now for our virtual online members. We're getting that communication out. I'm actually sending postcards to their house. I'm sending notes to their house every day. And the other part of it, since I have no more face-to-face interaction, I literally do what I'm doing right now. I stand up and I say, hey, everybody, it's Xian. Here's your daily update for Friday, May 8th, 2020. And then I go into what's happening today, what's going on tomorrow, and where we're going to be going next week. Through evergreen, ongoing, constant communication with my members, the rapport and the trust building process in me and in my business goes up, because they know I'm standing up in front of them as their fearless leader saying, here's what we're doing to protect you. Here's how we're going to keep your kids moving forward. Here's how we're going to all get to black belt together. And we're all in this together through these trying times. If you do that, and again, it's every single day. Of course, I take Saturday and Sunday off, but Monday through Friday, every day I'm doing it. There's no exception to it. And then, of course, we're sending out surveys. There's a million other things that we're doing and part of it, but that's the number one thing. So if there's anybody watching and you haven't been communicating to your members in that way, you got to start today, right? The best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is right now, today, right?
I completely agree with that. And I think that the fact that you have specific systems on ways that you communicate, so that, if someone doesn't open an email, they'll get a text. If someone isn't seeing that on social media, they may see the email. You're creating
right. And it's no different than teaching them in person, right? Every human on the planet learns in one of 3 ways, right? They see it, they do it, or they hear it. That's it. So when you're teaching a class, you have to hit all 3 of those teaching points. When you're running a business, people like communication different ways. So some people like in person. Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna shake your hand. That's it. I hear you. I get it. Some people would rather pick up their phone, check their text. Some people would rather check social media. Some people like to look at email. So I don't know exactly the preferred method of communication for every one of my members. What I know is I'm communicating on every platform possible. So no matter what your preferred communication choice is, you hear me, you get the message, and you believe in what we're doing for you.
That's fantastic. And for your existing students and their parents, I'm sure that that's been met really well with a lot of appreciation if you're keeping 80%. How have you introduced yourself to new people who may have discovered you during this crisis?
Okay, so this is actually, it's been kind of a blessing in disguise, right? So through the virtual platform of Zoom, now we have essentially 2 businesses. I have my existing business that I've pivoted to online, but now we have new virtual online training. So we're getting new members. In the last 5 weeks, we've signed up 39 new members into our virtual studio. These are people that A, need something to do, B, may or may never have even thought about martial arts before, but everything else has been taken away for them. So we become an outlet for them, for their kids' physical activity, for the parents' sanity, so that they can get 30, 45 minutes without their kids just pulling on their their arm every 2 seconds. So this virtual training has been great. And then we started a virtual white belt class. So they come in through our indoctrination process, which is the trial program, where we'll give them 3 or 4 free lessons to try it out. Then, our model is very simple. I just basically stole it from Netflix. It's $7 for 14 days, right? We give you 3 free lessons first, virtually. They're one-on-one, and we can book up to 3 people at a time. So like this, we've got 3 people on the screen. I could teach 3 people at the same time virtually. You take a few of those, and then we say, all right, if you like this, here's the deal. I'm going to send you a link to sign up. It's only $7 for the next 14 days. Try it out. If you like it, then we'll talk about how we're going to get there, continue and get you into the regular classes. So again, step by step by step to move them in there.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, that's sure not, most schools would kill for that number of new people in a regular month, much less than the process here. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. And those numbers that I'm telling you those are actual memberships, right? Those are people who've come off the trial and are actually paying a regular monthly fee to train in the group with the rest of my white belts or my mini dragons, the little guys.
Okay, so that's a down funnel number. Wow, that's even better.
Yeah,
that's even better. What are some, like, if you could think of like 3, 4, 5 things that like everyone should be doing if they're not? You already mentioned communicating, so that's cool. But just things that school owners should be doing if they've been still stuck with analysis paralysis, or they're trying some things but they don't feel like they're getting any traction.
So again, you ask like big questions, which is good. I like that. So I'll unpack it a little bit. Analysis paralysis is probably the biggest challenge that I see in school owners. And you and I both talk to hundreds of school owners across the country. They're overthinking it. You've just got to do it, right? Go live on, listen, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. This is the most powerful tool that any human in America has right now. This phone is more powerful than the computers that Ronald Reagan used to run the country when he was president. This is a virtual television studio in your pocket. There are no more gatekeepers. There are no more, I have to get on a network. You have a network. It's right here. You can go live on Facebook. It's free. You can go live on Instagram. It's free. TikTok, LinkedIn, all these platforms are free to use. Now, of course, they can charge you advertising dollars if you want to go beyond. I could pick this up right now, go live on Facebook, and hit 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000 people. It's an amazing tool. And some people are like, well, just do it. Just go. And here's the thing about Facebook or even Instagram Live. I can go live, and if we were live right now, maybe 20, 30 people are tuning in. If we do the whole thing and we go, oh my God, that sucks, that was terrible, you can delete it. And only those 20 people or 10 people saw it. But if you hit save and it goes, now 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 potential members, customers, clients can see that video. And that's the power of social media that too many school owners still are not harnessing. And so my advice is just do it. The worst thing that could happen is nothing, which is what's happening now. The best thing that could happen, you get a ping, you get a text, you get a comment, you get a like, you get a new potential lead, prospect, or member.
Oh man, that's great, because again, I've always felt doing something is better than doing nothing.
100%.
No matter what. You've made this joke a couple of times, and I always think it plays well to the crowd, but you talk about you love having an open mind, and how you like, sometimes, you enjoy being the dumbest person in the room.
That's right.
So, to me, I would equate that to, it's like being, you don't mind being a white belt about things. You don't mind learning something new. Because when we're a white belt, we're always excited.
Right.
We're always excited. But to me, in this time, I think this is a very pressing question for you, particularly when we talk about the legacy of your father, right?
Right.
You're facing a challenge he never faced.
Right. That's true.
We're after using types of thinking that didn't exist. And I know you have a fantastic spinning heel rake. But I can say that for the fact. You have a fantastic spinning heel rig. But, that doesn't help you navigate this waters here. How would you encourage school owners right now to let go of their ego? And start just trying something and measuring these successes. I mean, whether, like I say, just, besides posting on social media, some things to say, let go of your ego, do these things, and you'll see something.
Yeah. I saw a quote, if I can do it justice. Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity. Right? So, and then my dad's version of that was, don't let your ego write out checks that your bank account can't cash. Right? So that was my dad's thing on that. So like I said, you just got to take the action. You've just got to do it. There's so many tools out there that do it. And I do enjoy being the dumbest person in the room. My martial arts mentality, like Mr. Cokinos said, I've been doing this since I was 4 years old. So I've been doing this for what? That's 117 years, at this point, give or take a year or two. But even to this day, and I got this from my dad, which was great because in the early days of my dad's training, my dad's freaking awesome, right? He's a 10th degree black belt. He's got black belts in like 10 different styles of martial arts. He had an ongoing thirst for knowledge. He never thought that he knew it all. And to this day, when people ask him, wow, you're a 10th degree black belt, you must know a lot. His first response is always, I don't know anything. Right? He always has that empty cup mentality. So that carried over with me, not only in the martial arts, because I enjoy learning, like I learned stuff from you with the cane and all that cool stuff. But in business, right? I know some stuff, but I'm always learning, always trying to evolve, always trying to adapt. And that has helped our business and our company continue to move forward. Brilliant.
Yes, yes. What new skill, either professional or personal, have you picked up during this time?
Zoom. I'm a Zoom master right now. I'm telling you right now, man. We just started this breakout rooms. Like I didn't know anything about breakout rooms. Those things. If you guys are anybody watching, you're already doing Zoom and you have big classes. Those breakout rooms are gold. They are gold, gold, gold. You can do up to, I think, 6 different rooms at a time. So if you had 30 people in a class and you had 5 instructors, you could split them out. It's almost like private training for them. And it all happens at the same time live. You come back to the main room. So the breakout room thing is really cool. So yeah, I think I'm a Zoom Jedi master right now.
Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, not that I wanted to be, but I knew I had to be.
No, that's it. So as I wrap this up, I want to say, I know that your area, California, is starting to open up in different phases and things like that. As you go forward, let's say when you're able to have people physically back in your room, what is your long-term plan for the idea of having, going back to just physical, you to keep some level of digital, virtual? How do you envision the product?
Yeah. So again, here's the thing. We just had a webinar with our coaching clients, and here's what all school owners need to understand. What we want, I can guarantee you, is 100% different than what your customers want. We want to be open because we want that human interaction. We want to make money. We want people to come through our door. I want to sell pro shop products, right? I want to sign up new real members. That's me. That's not what my customers want. Everybody's in a different mindset right now. Some people are scared. Some people are anxious, and some people are ready to go. So the number one thing you have to do if you're a school owner watching this is when you can reopen, don't just reopen. A few days before, a week before, send out a survey and gauge what your customers are feeling. I sent mine out, and here's what I'm saying. The other thing too about me and how I help school owners is I don't teach theory. I don't teach like, I think you should do this. Like I have a school, we have 12 of them. So everything I ever tell anyone to do that's a school owner, it's because I'm doing it. I've tested it. I've worked out the data, and I figured out this is going to work for you too, right? So it's not a theory. I sent out a survey, and I thought all my students ready to come back, because I would say, hey, we're getting ready to open. They're like, yeah. And I could see the parents in the background going, because they're the ones driving, right?
Right.
So I sent out a survey thinking, all right, everyone's ready to come back. The data came back overwhelmingly during phase 1 and into phase 2. 70% of my people would rather do virtual training. They're not ready. And I saw a Facebook post or something that said, people always think that we're in the same boat in this COVID-19. And we're not. We're in the same storm. We're all in different boats, getting through this storm in different ways. And that's the big difference. So I am going to be allowed to open, I think, May 18th, but virtual training for me, it's here to stay, at least for another year, because of the data I got back from my members that said we would rather do it. And many school owners have found this out already. Some of my students are doing better virtually than they ever did on the floor with me, because they got ADD, ADHD, ABCD, EFG, whatever it is that they have. They're not able to focus in a big room of kids, but when they're looking at their TV watching me, I get emails from parents. My kid's doing so much better. He loves it. I hope. And the overwhelming thing was, please keep virtual training. So the answer to your question is, when I'm allowed to reopen, I'll reopen, and we're going to kind of use a soul cycle model, meaning you're going to have to reserve your spot on the floor. So I want to be the hottest restaurant in town, and only a limited number of people can come on the floor, which is going to be the law anyway. I think it's the number for California is 10. So I have to have 9 people on the floor and 1 instructor, period. Now, if I have a class that's got 40 members and I've got plenty of those classes, that means the other 30 are going to have to train virtually online. So my model will be a 3-fold model. You're ready to come back? I got you. You're going to have a spot on the floor. You're kind of ready to come back. Maybe you want to come back once a week and still do virtual. I got you. You want nothing to do with coming back to my school? I got you. Virtually, it's here to stay. All I'm going to be doing is just flipping my camera angle because for privacy concerns, I don't want to film this way so that you see the faces of the kids, because that's kind of illegal and a violation of privacy. I'm going to put the camera back on my Dragon and shoot so that you're only seeing me, because when I teach, I've actually turned around in this room. You'll see me in the backs of the heads of kids, so you actually won't see anybody's faces, because that's safety concerns for some of the parents as well. So no matter which way you're getting through this storm, I'll have an access point for you so that we can continue to move forward together on the path to black belt.
That's awesome. And when you're ready, I know a really great way that we can put that reservation link somewhere all your students will have it in their hand.
Yeah. And dude, listen, with Budocode and anybody that's watching, if you don't have an app, like again, right here, having an app puts you in the same category as Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. Every big company in the world has an app. So why not have a martial arts app? Like when you created this thing, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard of. To have an app so I can rub shoulders with Nordstrom, I can rub shoulders with Nike and Amazon. You know how that looks position-wise when a member signs up at my school and I go, oh, by the way, you have an iPhone or Android? You have the iPhone? Cool. So go in your app store and just type in Red Dragon Karate. We've got an app. You do? And we put our curriculum up on there, and it's a resource now for my members, right? So not only does it make our company look better and stronger as a brand, but it allows my students to get the help that they need whenever they want it. So if you don't have an app, you got to hit Chris up and get an app, because it's cool. And it's for what you do, Chris, it's pennies on the dollar. And listen, I'm not paid to say that. Just, I want to let you know, I am a fan of technology, and he has a martial arts based app that is, I haven't seen anything better than it.
Thank you. I mean, you've been one of the earliest partners that I got to work with.
Yep.
I remember, building the app out with you over some cool curry at your school, working out.
Yeah.
And what's great too is that you've taken the model too, that you've actually turned it into a revenue center.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's a whole nother conversation that we could have. But I want to tell anybody watching as well, I am not a tech guy, and Chris Folmar will tell you that. I get frustrated, I get angry, I don't get it. But Chris is very patient. He held my hand and he walked me through it. And now I understand the Budocode technology, I understand the platform, but there was a lot of back and forth conversations, which he's great. His team is great with the support. You don't have to be a tech guy or a tech girl to get the app or to understand it. If you can stand in front of a camera and you can talk and you can teach, you can have an app.
I certainly appreciate the plug, but more importantly, I appreciate your support and your friendship. You've been, and you're acting as a leader should right now, and making sure that people out there know there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are ways to navigate through the dark. And by all means, it's okay to make mistakes, because I've heard you admit to all 3 of those things in this interview. And I think that is all any of us could ask for right there.
Right.
Great. Hey, Chris Folmar, can I jump in?
Absolutely.
Chris Casamassa.
Sure.
You brought it today.
Thank you.
Content rich, experience rich, idea rich. When your back was against the wall, you were a man of execution. I think your dad planted good seeds for you, buddy.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
We want to say to you that we thank you for being a great foundational person in the martial arts, moving the martial arts forward. You're a guy that has great ideas. You're a good communicator. You're a man of great foundation. So we thank you from the martial art community that we come from, and we are excited to get to know you more and more. And all of us embrace the good health and the future and the abundance of the Red Dragon organization and your family. Thank you so much, because it was some great content.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And I know you guys are doing some great things with MPower. And, you know, like I was telling you in the beginning, my goal is to help impact and reach as many martial arts goers as possible. And Chris, you hit the nail on the head. Listen, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, the public will remember how you positioned yourself wherever you are in the country, wherever you are in the world. Stand up and be the leader that your students believe in. They signed up with you originally for a reason, because they believed in you. So to stick your head in the sand and to hide is the wrong move, because when this is over, they're going to remember that too. So it's not too late. You can do it right now. You can do it today. So hopefully this interview motivates you and inspires you. And listen, I'm here to help. So you guys you can find me on every social media platform available. You can DM me, you can PM me, you can email me. It doesn't matter. I'm here to help. I know Chris and Mr. Cokinos are here to help as well. So reach out to us. Don't feel lost. Don't feel, oh, it's too late. It's never too late, right? Just like the martial arts. The only time you lose is when you give up. Same thing in business. The only time you lose is when you give up, and it's never too late. We're here to help you. So thank you for having me on. Thanks for giving me this platform. I really appreciate it.
Upwards and onwards. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Balin, thank you for being here today. And
oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Chris C, that was really wonderful. And you shared, you pre-framed or prefaced one of your ideas by, you don't like to pontificate or just theorize. And regardless of you saying that, the entire conversation was rich of real
Really
examples. So thank you for that.
Really good.
Well, thank
Really
you guys.
good.
Listen, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And, you know, we're in this together, and we're going to just try and help people.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
all right, cheers.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys.